but you broke my heart. I'm going back.
Hi guys, how you doing? It's Sam here from Ghana Bound, and and I have an update for you this week. Hope you guys have all been well. Hope your weeks have all been blessed. And yeah, wow, what a week we've had this week. A lot of good, a lot to deal with, a lot to deal with. We've had power outages this week that we need to deal with. There was a system-wide failure of the top-up system here in Ghana. So there were certain areas, I think for around 5 days, you couldn't top up electric even if you tried. Obviously, if you ran out, and that was an issue. I think you had to go to the main distributors. Third-party places were not able to top up your card, which was a real pain. And the rain just never stopped this week. We'll get to that in a minute. But let me start by saying this. I'm Sam, Ghana Bound. We have moved from the UK back to Ghana, and we've documented our journey every step of the way. So if you haven't seen any of that, you're more than welcome to go into the playlist, have a look, and you can see our journey from the very beginning, from even before we even packed our bags to come. We've literally, no, not even literally, we have documented our whole return to Ghana from the UK, and it's totally possible. And we decided to really just give you the real deal, no glossiness. When we're winning, we're winning. When we're, facing challenges, you're facing these challenges with us too. Also, over the time of our return, it's become apparent that a lot of other people are thinking about coming back to the motherland, back to Ghana or back to a African country. And they've got a lot of questions that they've been asking us, and we're always happy to answer. One of the major things that has been asked about, as ever, is always housing. Housing and how do you make money? So we've tried to focus on one aspect of that, and that's getting good housing or places where you can get good pieces of land. And yes, we've set up GhanaBound.com, where you can find very quality housing, very good quality lands that you can that will help you through, will help you on your return. We do consultancies as well to help you on your return back to Ghana, and that's really what we're about. This is how we're trying to help you guys make your return to the motherland as wahala-free as possible. So yeah, back to it. Now that I've done a little recap and told you what we're all about, this week has been quite challenging. It's the year anniversary of my mother's passing, and we're getting all those things together. My senior brother's gone up to the Volta region to get things prepared. That will happen next week. But aside from that, just the technicalities of living in Ghana, often you will find challenges. For us, we had nearly 72 hours of constant rain. And when I say constant, it would literally, I think it would stop for minutes. It turned into drizzle for minutes, and then the driving rain would come back. And if you managed to catch our midweek live, it was coming in from everywhere, around the house, around to the back of the house. It was coming in over Wellington boots, normal size Wellington boots. I was out there trying to see if I could release any of the water best I could, and it was just impossible. The neighbors, they were also being flooded. The school to the side, they were not so bad, and but it was coming in everywhere. It was even at one point coming in from underneath the foundations. It was good in one aspect, that the new building, it showed us where there was any weak spots, and it's not been finished. The new roof, which I will be updating you on, is on, but it's not been completed. So at the front of the building, there was definitely some spots where the water was coming in and rolling along wooden struts and trusses that we had at the front of the house. So Busby's going to come back and attend to those. He did say it's not finished. But the worst part was the actual old house. The old house, we had water coming in from the front, water coming in from, oh my goodness, from the kitchen. So in Ghana, most things the cooker is done with a calagas cylinder, which is normally placed outside of the house, and so there'll be a hole, and it's quite high. Like I said, the water actually got real high, and it was all coming in through there. It was coming in through the washing machine attachments as well, because we have drainage out there, and that was really challenging. It was coming through the floor of the bathroom, which is really something. On our plot, and again, if you've seen it, the positioning of the house is actually quite terrible. The old house, it seems to be at the lowest point on the plot, so everything is draining in to that corner of the house, and it's really really an issue. It's really an issue. The house behind us, they also seem to drain into this corner. So even if we was to do some drainage and go out the back and to their main road, it would just want to be coming back into this cauldron, so to speak. Hey, brown coat blue, how you doing? Hope all is well. Well, it is now, and we're not ones to let things get on top of us. We've come here. Ghana's a very young country, and we're here to stay. We're here to make it work. We're here to thrive and live our best lives, and then that will come with challenges, and we're not afraid of these challenges. That's the nature of the very good woman I married, Yaba, and the children have actually found it to be quite an adventure, and yeah, we're getting through this. But can I say it was easy? No, it's been a very trying week. I've been out there paling water out of the front, trying to save as much furniture and bits and pieces as possible. And so, the most part, we've done very well. We've got it all out the way. As if that wasn't hard enough, we had an issue, or Ghana as a whole had an issue with the electric this week. I know it was as far as Kumasi, they were having issues topping up their electric. So were we, and most of the time with all this flooding, there was no electric either. It's a reality. It's a reality. These things happen. The infrastructure is building. Like I've said in past weeks, there's so much building happening, and it's literally the train is running and the track is being laid in front of this moving train of development and new beginnings. Good evening, brown coat blue. How you doing? Yeah, if you haven't noticed already, we're really interactive with the comments, and feel free to you're invited. You want to come and have a chat with us? If you have any conversational pieces or any questions, hey, I'd love to get you on here. That's totally down to you. It's your life as much as it's mine. So as I was saying, Ghana is rapidly developing. The train of development is moving, and the tracks are being laid down as this train is relentlessly moving forward. So you've got to be prepared for challenges. And yeah, good evening, Destination Africa. I did give you a call earlier, but I think we missed each other. Of course, you're more than welcome to this chat. The link is in the comments. It should be at the top. If not, I'm sure Yaba will get on her computer there and send you the link if you want to, guys. But yes, it has been a challenging week. Again, we've learned from this experience. It's going to be quite challenging to get the water out of this plot into the right direction, because where the old house is, we don't really want to knock the old building down, but it's at the lowest point. Brother Ahmed, good evening to you, brother. How are you? I hope you're well. He's been really good. Maybe one day we'll get him on. He's one of my partners in BB's boutique, and he's such a good guy. But that's for the business side of things. So the challenge of this week is to now work out how we're going to get this drainage done and dusted once and for all. Again, have a look at the videos of previously, and it will make sense what I'm saying to you about the structure of our house and what we're building of. So for you new guys, we're a family of 4 that have relocated to Ghana, and we're building an extension on the old house. We've just had the roof on. I'm going to put some updates on that through the week. And this week, flooding was the topic of discussion, flooding and electric. The plot lays to the lower side, and the house sits on that lower side. So trying to get this water out or to leave the compound is a bit of a mission, especially as the infrastructure in this area does not have a gutter outside of the gate. So outside of the property, the main government gutter has not yet come past our front door. Again, adding to that, in this area, we are the lowest plot, and it's, just waiting for Busby to get back from the Volta region to come, and let's just really try and figure this out. Because the house is so low, even if we build up the ground, it will literally be going up the walls of the old house. So if any of you guys have got any solutions, I'm hoping Asher and Gad may well be watching this and have some solutions for me. If you haven't watched their channel, they're awesome. And Asher's an engineer with so much experiences. If you've got some tips for me, Asher, I'll take it. But yes, definitely. It's been a very challenging week. The plot is very big, but the rain has been so dense or so heavy that it's just turned it into a bit of a war zone. We put some more chippings down, some rocks, to try and mesh in with the laterite, that red sand that Africa's always known for. And we've had some degree of success. Somewhere under all of that laterite, there was a path built that should be hard standing and enable us to get in and out, but it's just turned into a real mess. Getting the kids to school, we've had to, implement a whole regime, Wellington boots outside the house, by where the car normally parks, by the gate that we need to open up. Oh, these challenges come, but even in the midst of paling out water on the live, we were just laughing to each other and saying this is going to make an amazing highlights reel, because the highs are high and the lows are low, but we're determined to make every success. As usual, let me know where you are viewing from. Definitely, I'll reach back out to you and say hi. If you have any questions for us and the realities of a return back to Ghana, again, I'm happy to share any advice I can give to you. But yeah, it's been amazing. As ever, we have some new properties on the website going up, and there's some amazing people we've met in the whole property development side of things, that are doing so many amazing projects out here. Like I said earlier, the train of development is just relentless over here. Whatever the challenges worldwide is happening, Ghana, by the plane load, people are coming to invest. And I suggest if you're returning from the diaspora, you get over here, see what's available and what's possible, and don't be left behind. The strength of Africa, in my humble opinion, and the speed of our development and transformation, the diaspora has a serious part to play in that. Not to say it's the everything, but the exchange of information and knowledge between those resident in Ghana and those coming back from outside is so needed. And when the right hand washes the left, we all become clean. I know that was terribly cheesy, but it's actually the truth. It's actually the truth. it's just an amazing chance today. I was supposed to meet up with some of the guys this week, other returnees, and it just didn't happen. Once the rain comes down, you can't see the open gutters to the left and the right of the roads, and you do get people wandering in. It's a bit dangerous. If the trip is not necessary, I always choose not to make that trip. Ooh, sorry, I always choose not to make that trip. I'm not that used to the roads like that. So at this stage, the dry and light drizzle, I'm cool with driving in. But anything else, I'll take the safe card. What else has happened this week? Man, yeah, I was saying, sorry, there's been some new developments that we're bringing to the table. We've got some very nice high-end stuff coming up. You can own, there's a really, really good Pelican. Have a look on the website, the Pelican development, high-end apartments. This is really for for developers and investors. There's a lot of investment properties coming up over in Ghana right now. So have a look at the website for that. We didn't lose any days for school this week, which is really good because, again, it can really shut you down, this weather. It can really bring the whole thing to a shuddering stop. For me, I think it would have been more bearable if we had the electric for most of it. The Ghana Electric Company did issue a statement saying that they were having issues and it was resolved, but they might have jumped the gun with the announcement of it being resolved. And today we queued. I think we queued for about 3 hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours to get to the front of the queue and buy our top up of electric. So what do we got here? Brown coat blue. Yeah, that was something I saw a couple of people mention over the past 3 days that I had never thought about. Not being able to see the gutters is a way to take a critical damage to your vehicle. It most definitely is. It's just, again, I'm not used to it, so it's tricky. So I opt to stay out. I just choose not to do it until my confidence is higher. I'll work out. I saw on Miss Dark and Lovely's channel, and she said she had 3 days with no power. Yeah, I think all in all, it was about 4 to 5 days. The situation has now largely been resolved. Many people will get a top up from third-party places. So that's like your corner store, your corner shop in the UK, or a supermarket. And that whole network was out. You could only get it from district distributors, like their main hardcore network. And you can imagine, I think it was about Thursday, I just started seeing random queues and it didn't make sense. And then the penny dropped. That, oh, they were outstanding outside electric companies. And we were out because of the storms anyway. So because of the storms, there was no power. And actually, I'm assuming it's because of the storm, but we don't ever have lights off over a day, which is what we had. It was more than a day of light off, which I can only link to the storms and the flooding. And then as soon as the power came off, our credit ran out. That was just nuts. So, excuse me. So that was the thing there. That was quite tricky. I'm preparing, and in fact, I've got the electricians coming in this week. I really want to be independent of the system. One less person on this network brings less stress to the network, and two, just having that independence of generating your own solar power and being able to just not rely on the infrastructure so much. It's an amazing thing. Also, I really want to put in my own borehole, and that means I'm really independent from the pressurizing the network. That's, like I said, the track is being laid as this express train of development is thundering through. Okay, we've got our first guest in today. It's going to be Mike from Destination Africa. Hey, bro, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. How was your week?
Hey, Charlie. We were good. It's been raining hard, but fortunately for us on this occasion, we haven't been hit by the weather. Not as bad as you guys had it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, on this occasion, it's escaped us. But in the past, we have been affected by it.
Yeah.
We have a little garage space, and I think the last time the longer rains don't affect us as bad because where we are, we're slightly high up.
Yeah.
So it's normally people down in the valley who tend to get it. But if the flash flooding is intense, then it can affect us, and that's what happened last time. But this time, because it was constant rain, the drainage system was able to take the water away before it got to serious or critical proportions. I think the last time it happened, there was a lot of rain, and it was so quick. It was so torrential. I was up to my knees. We had these, the drain covers that you can, in flood times, you can open, and then it's an extra escape for the water.
Yeah.
We were struggling to get the final two off, and literally the rain was so hard and so heavy.
Yeah.
I was in my knees, in my shorts, just trying to get this thing open. The plumber had closed it, so we were struggling. But fortunately enough, the rain started to subside just before. We probably had about 3 or 4 inches before it would have entered our property. So yeah. It was a getaway on that occasion. But it did affect our garage. So anything, normally we've had floodwaters in the past. So at the bottom of our garage, we have a sort of a level of maybe half a foot. And normally water hasn't come down so hard. But this time it passed the barrier. And anything that was on the floor got damaged. We had bits of wood and clothes and boxes, things that we'd shipped from the UK, and you just had to, take note and do something about it, because the water level can get to that point once, it can definitely happen again. And if you don't want to lose either valuable or irreplaceable things or things of value, now certain things are propped up off the floor. Just in case.
It's amazing the volume of water that can come down in such a short time. I mean, I really intend to harvest this rainwater, because I think whatever I build as a tank
wouldn't be enough.
It just wouldn't be enough. It would overflow. But
so
you could
quickly
literally store enough water to water gardens and whatever for the dry season, if you had the capacity to store it.
Yeah, I mean, the water comes down so hard. In old traditional houses, they don't have guttering and downpipes. So, you have the roof, and then you have a little hole just there. And when it rains, all the water on the roof would literally shoot down. And the force of the water is so strong. If there's like paving stones underneath, it will start to erode the blocks. Yeah. And that isn't over years. It can literally do that in one season. One big heavy downpour, and you have to get some pointing done. So
it's hard to explain, like, the seriousness of rains over here. Like when they hit. I mean, when they hit, there's no mercy.
Yeah.
And it can also be very localized as well. Literally.
Yes. Yeah, we went to Malaysia for our honeymoon, Ebla and I, and that's the only place I've seen rains literally as hard, where we were out sightseeing, 5 minutes later, torrential rains, and they have some open gutters there as well, and floodplains. And literally, you'll look at this gutter, you think, oh, okay, it's just probably, half a foot of water. Man, don't try it.
No, no, no.
It's probably about 10 or 15 feet deep. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's something that returnees need to take into account, to be honest with you. I know it's just weather, but it's just the power of it, the power of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
situation.
And it's the force for disruption. I think, like in the UK, we used to have like snow and leaves on the train tracks that would bring the country to its knees. Where in Ghana, okay, it's not leaves on the train track, but it's the rain. And before, I didn't quite get it. I was like, look, just get on with it,
Yeah,
But then when you think of most people probably don't live on paved side streets. The main
yeah,
roads would probably be paved, but the side streets wouldn't. And most people probably live on some form of side street. And you wear your work clothes and you can't even make it out down the road to get a taxi or something. So
yeah,
everything gets covered in brown muck or sludge or
yeah.
something. And even the thought of walking past a taxi or a car and they just annihilate your clothes
It can happen.
in a moment, it can happen. So
Yeah,
over time, I've learned to be a bit more patient with people when it rained. But at the same time, it's not an excuse to, okay, it's a day off. The world needs to keep moving.
yeah, 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 and it's a good point you make. I would just mention in passing the regimen that needed to be in place just to get to a meeting or get out of your yard. Uh,
Mm.
and be presentable for the meeting, because
People are like,
because
hey, where did you come from? Did you just throw a chocolate milkshake on yourself?
did you actually walk from the farm? It's like what's happening? It's a thing, because also in the town planning, so many people again are paving their yards outside, which small by small,
Yeah.
it's adding to the problem of flooding, because where
The
you
water
have
can't
a
be
grassy
absorbed.
area,
Yeah.
it can be absorbed, and it's trying to get to gutters that may or may not be there. I
That's
mean,
that's what I see as a main issue. It's people have plots of land, and because it's not controlled by the municipal, what tends to happen is someone develops and does their gutter, and then the
yeah,
guy next to you doesn't have a gutter,
yeah,
and the rain doesn't care whether you have a gutter or not. It's going to make one, and
no,
it may be directly through your house, or in the middle of what was the road outside your house.
yeah,
And yeah, and as we said, with the force of the water, you'll see a road totally rutted away, and you'll think, wow, someone left that 5 years ago. Like, they haven't
yeah,
touched it for 5 years, and it could literally be this season. And I traveled yesterday to Winneba, which is probably about a 2 hour and a half, 2 hour drive away. And the road was just being destroyed because of the flood water seeping into the potholes. What probably was a 1 or 2 foot pothole before the rains on that particular day has probably doubled in size, and
yeah,
today it'll probably be even worse. So
yeah. It's
yeah.
actually a thing to consider when buying your home as well, and getting your surveyor to really do a thorough survey of the area. I saw this week, it was a beautiful modern house right next door to a church, which there is a billion of in Ghana. And the deadly red spray paint was on the front wall, and it read, "Remove now, waterway." And
Wow.
I don't know how that house managed through this last down deluge. Regardless of that or not, that house will now have to be removed. There's no this one there. If it's a waterway and you've built your whole house, and this wasn't like a little bungalow, Mike. It was
They've gone to work. They've gone to town.
oh man, there was glass fronts on it. There was everything. This was beautiful. And then a church beside it as well. I felt bad for them. I absolutely felt bad for them. These things will happen if you don't do your
Your
due
due
diligence.
diligence. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And even now, it's like with all the rains, I know people who are running around to see plots of land and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's not the best of time. And someone's like, no, it's the best of time. Now's the time to go
Yes.
and see plots of land, because you'll
Yeah.
see whether it's, it gets flooded,
Yeah.
in that sort of situation. And once you've built your house, what the lay of the land is and so on. So yeah, as you're doing you're checking your roofing or your 80-90% completed roof, you can see where the issues were. So once the rain
Yeah.
subsides, you can get those issues sorted, and it's essential for land and when you're trying to buy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so imperative. There's so many literally potholes that you can miss on a dry day. The
Mhm.
same thing for when you're renting a property. I saw
Yes.
way back the Japons went to see a place,
Mhm.
and lucky for them it was raining, and wow, they got to see the real deal on that house that they would never have seen if it was a dry season, you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have a quick question here. To your knowledge, have any of the MPs brought up the issue of paved yards? I'm planning on using bricks that are partially open so grass can grow through and water can drain. Um, I've got to be honest with you. I don't think that would be on the top 10 list for MPs.
Oh, yeah. These guys.
I'm not even being condescending.
Mhm.
There's so many challenges here that are
Mhm.
more basic, and I know it's important. I'm not saying it's not important, and the
Yeah.
town plan is not important, but it's
The other side is enforcement.
yeah,
Enforcement is an issue because obviously, there are laws, and if you actually look in a lot of Ghana's constitution, there are many laws and lots of
yes,
things there are processes for. But sometimes the problem or the challenge is the enforcing. You can make this law to say, okay, 50% of your front yard or your land space must be grass or natural,
mhm,
habitat. But who's going to come around and enforce? And if someone decides I'm not doing anything about my 100% paved
yeah,
compound, who's got the time to run him through the courts and
yeah,
ensure that it's enforced? So yeah, in terms of a law, I I don't think there is one, and I don't think one's going to be enforced anytime soon. But people are also starting to appreciate flora and fauna more as
yeah,
well. I mean,
yeah,
I think the main drivers for paving everything with concrete and slabs was convenience, because Ghanaians generally don't like to do gardening and
yeah,
major housekeeping. So it was easy, but now people are complaining about green spaces and stuff, and so on. So it's
yeah,
as the conversation happens, I think people are starting to entertain the idea. But
yeah.
those are just my thoughts and opinions.
I mean, a lot of the diaspora coming back do require or want green spaces as parts of their land and their living situation.
Mm.
Um, but you raise a point: the enforcement of such thing and the resources that would be diverted to that. Um, there's so many other things that would be fighting for that same city or that same dollar.
Yeah.
Um, child services, you know, even the Ghana Fire Service. There's so many things, and yes, it's
Mm.
so integral and so needed. That goes without saying. But it's the execution and the adherence to this thing that I think would be the stumbling block or the challenge. I
Yeah.
think you're
Yeah.
going to hear me say challenge a lot of times in a lot of lives.
Yeah. Oh man. I was going to say with your electricity situation, I learned once with ECG, I had an issue where they they changed our post pay meter to a prepay.
Hmm.
So they gave us the card. You put the card in, you top up. And I normally used to wait until I get the warning that the 20 city you've hit your limit. So once your credit gets down to 20 cities, the meter automatically switches the power off, and then you got to take the card out, put it back in, and then you're running on your 20 city emergency. So you've got probably, I don't know, a couple of days to sort it out. So I remember that happened, and I was like, okay, let me pop down to the top up spot and top it up. First one I went to, oh, the systems are down. I was like, okay. Went to another one. Oh, the systems are down. So that okay. So I had to drive to another area just in case it was a local issue.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't use this card. You can't top up this
Yeah.
card here. And I'm like, why has it got to be so complicated? And then I was told, oh, the best place would be to go to the ECG, the nearest regional or divisional office or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went to that one, and there was a massive queue. Just the queue was unreal. Presented my card, said, I just want to top up here. And they said, oh, you know what? There's something wrong with your card. So they basically had to reissue me a card because I think my card had been cloned. So it couldn't register anywhere. So there I was thinking, okay, I'm at the office. It will get done today. It didn't get done today. I had to wait another 24 hours. So there I am coming down to my last 5 or 4 cities worth of electricity. We don't unplug everything other than the fridge, the fridge freezer. And, we were on fans constantly, or even the fans, unless it was a super hot night, everything had to go off, like keep it minimal. And after that, it just took the joy out of life. So I was like, okay, you know what? From here on in, once they sort out the card, I always make sure I've got like at least 6 weeks worth of electricity on the card in case stuff like what just happened. And they're down for 2 or 3 days. I drove by that ECG building, and at the time I didn't know what was happening, but there was literally 150 people standing outside. I just checked my meter and I was like, phew, okay, I've got enough electricity for at least a month. So hopefully by that time things would have subsided. So yeah, my one tip of advice: top up that electric meter and keep as much on it as possible.
The other tip is, and this got me the first time, I was so annoyed. I didn't realize you had to, as they say in Ghana, show the card to the meter before you go and top up. So if you don't show the card to the meter and you try and go and top up, they say, oh, you cannot top up. You have to show it. And then you go back to the house empty-handed with no electric, rejoin the queue, just tap it onto the meter, rejoin the queue.
I didn't know that. I always keep my card in the meter. I just leave it there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think you've got a different type of meter again, because they have different. I mean, in some areas you can do it on an app, but that's just not my area, which would be fantastic. Okay. Yeah, some areas you can do it on an app and then you're back up and running, provided the network isn't having issues.
Yeah. Oh wow! I'm telling you, it's like there's nuances to the nuances.
Yeah.
So it's always great to have a conversation and you figure out, oh, okay, that person's had that issue. Okay, cool. Make a mental note and try to smoothen out some of these mini potholes before they turn into gutters. Yeah,
but I mean, you've been here a while longer than us. Was it particularly a crazy rain for us? For me, it was just unrelenting. It wasn't. I mean, it's rained harder, but when it was really going for it, and the amount of hours that it was going for really took me back. There was no. Literally, I was just paling for hours because it was centimeters off of it completely taking over the house.
Yeah, I think where you were, stronger where you were than where we were. So it was still it was strong rain, and it was continuous for roughly the 40 hours. But we didn't get any. We weren't close to an emergency on this occasion.
Oh, I thought we was going to lose a couple of walls because the volume of water pushing against the walls was. I had to release some of the water, and that's still. It didn't stop us from being flooded. But it stopped us from completely
having the wall come down, giving you another problem.
Yeah. But we've got one Ahmed. I know you are called. You're in line from Pakistan. What is it like where you are, brother? Do some of these things sound familiar? How are you guys doing? I know you do suffer from floods from various time of the year. Is it the same where you are? Leave us a comment, let me know. But I think on this point it's like we always try to be as real as possible on this channel, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows here, and there are challenges, and it's a certain type of person that will weather these things and still see the positives from the relocation, from the move. But
Exactly. I always say, you know, it's a blood pressure challenge. You know, every day you're trying to keep your blood pressure within a certain range, and there's certain things you got to ask yourself. If I really throw myself into it, is that going to help my blood pressure? Is that going to help me move forward in what I'm trying to achieve? And you know, certain times that it could feel painful. Like when we had our garage flooded, it was like, oh man, I lost some stuff, which, you know, it just didn't cross my mind. It didn't cross my mind to think, okay, that barrier may get breached in future and whatever. And we, like, when I count the cost of what we lost, you know, it was a couple of £1,000 worth of stuff. So, and you're like, oh, okay, you could get really upset about it, or you can be like, okay, well, you know, it wasn't life, it wasn't critical, it wasn't a garage for a reason. And you know, you keep it moving and just learn from it and make sure whatever you implement reduces the likelihood of something like that ever happening again. But yeah, there's always going to be something out of left field which will catch you. Yeah,
it is that way. Again, you've just got to work out how you're going to face these challenges that will come up. I mean, as much as we were paling out our house, the neighbors were doing the same thing. You know, it was a community thing. And even in the queues to get the electricity, there's this underlying humor that can be found in these situations in that queue. People are coming out of the electric shop and literally rejoicing as if they won the lottery. And it's electric that they paid for, but it lightens the situation. There's a spirit.
And then people are like, everyone's having a go at the electricity company, and then there's someone having a go at the president. It's the president's fault.
It's the president himself. He needs
to come and apologize. and all sorts. You hear it all. Someone's telling you, this is my story. This has happened. Blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, oh, wow. Yeah, I thought mine was bad. This he's had it bad, and so on. So, you know, it sort of puts it in perspective a bit, and you're like, okay, you know, get what you need to get done and carry on.
Yeah.
So cool.
Man,
hey.
It's good to just like have these conversations and just really share with the diaspora the realities of the situation, share the highs and the lows with it. Hopefully we're not on a building site for too much longer. It's stages and stages, but to be honest with you, I'm scratching my head about how I'm going to execute this drainage, especially effectively. Half of it, the new house is not an issue. It's high. The foundations well above it, but the old house, in the back of my head, I'm thinking it might not.
You know what? Have you thought about getting a pump?
Yeah.
Having a pump, because you can have pumps which, like automatic pumps, which will activate when the water gets to a certain level, when something gets covered, and then it would pump it to maybe the main gutter out. That's something I've seen someone use before for part of their house that was low lying. So there's that option or something. I mean, and you want it to be automatic, because there may be times where you're not at home and the rain's hit, and you know, you don't want to come home to find your house is flooded and then pump out the water. It's like,
like you, we're raising. There's certain places where stuff is just raised just in case. I've got the Sparkies, as we call it, coming over tomorrow at some point to hook up the generator.
Yeah,
because hand in hand with flooding comes light off. Literally, it seems to be when flooding comes, it may well hit a transformer in the area, or I don't know how the electric company managed their situation. It's hand in hand. Floods come or rains come, electric's off. So I'm not sure how effective an automatic pump will be, but it's definitely something that has been added to the list. I mean, the top of my list is a borehole, and I really want to get free of being on grid electricity.
I mean, in terms of the pump, I always put it against the cost. I'm like, okay, what is the cost if water breaches, that lower part of the house? What am I going to lose? Not only in things I can or can't replace, but also your time and days of cleaning the house, mopping all the silt and everything and all that sort of stuff. So, like, I'll weigh it up compared to the price of a pump and, an electrician to even if it's the most rudimentary thing, if it can save you, even the build up, or whether it be knocking a couple of holes in that back wall where the water can sit, like,
Oh,
yeah. I'm sure you're there.
for our situation, the neighbor behind us, it's literally like the three walls at the lowest point. So if we knock holes in, I knocked one hole into the side, which released it to a very open area that was very, muddy and whatever. But to the back of us, we'd literally be exchanging water. That's
Have
it's
some,
not,
Charlie.
we'd just be exchanging water. And where they are, it was even worse than ours.
Hey.
And new development across the road from them has now raised the level of the road. So it used to run out. That will not even run out. I mean, every time a car came past on their road, it would send more water into their yard, into their front rooms. It was just something else. And
that's a massive issue as well. Like you're saying, you build your house, you figure out your levels, and then someone comes and builds a development next to you and ups their bit, and the next thing you know, you become the lowest point. And then you start all over again. So
Hey. So there is a lot to it. You've got to put some thought in and really get expert advice on plots of land that you buy. And I think to some extent, look into the future. This old house, regardless, it is drawing water from the bottom. I know it was a holding house, like to protect the land. It was a very well built house, but the choice of where they positioned it on the land, it couldn't have been any worse if you tried. But
then, on the flip side, sometimes also it's like you're saying, you can't fully. You can obviously look at certain things and say, okay, go for land which is slightly raised, especially if you're buying. When she was buying the land 20 years ago or whenever it was, always tries to go for land which has some form of runoff. But like you said, when you bought it, it was fine. Or when you built that little almost boys' quarters just to secure the land, it was fine. But since then, someone's built next to you, someone's built here, and concreted their whole driveway and everything, and now you are that new low point. So sometimes you can provision, but there's also a bit of reactive action that's required because situations change sometimes outside of your control.
Hi, sweetie. Thanks for joining us this evening. As ever, you guys are welcome to join in the conversation. The links are probably at the top of the chat. So feel free. It's not by force. But so you're joining us with Destination Africa, a fantastic channel that are really building the next generation. I don't think that's an overstatement, Mike. Our children attend Destination Africa sessions, and they're learning real home economics, what I would call real home economics, real self-empowerment, real history, real things that build their confidence and make them real good global citizens. And firstly, it really empowers them to see value in the culture that they're from. I can't sing the praises loud enough. The confidence shift in my children has been amazing, and we're really proud to be part of the Destination Africa Village. What have you guys got coming on? What have you guys got coming up?
Hey, we've been working quietly in the background. So from the YouTube side, it's been a little bit quiet as we're sort of, we're realigning the channel for a sort of a soft relaunch. So again, our thing is, inspiring the next generation, creating African-centered and African-focused content to, to build the next generation. Firstly, boost them up in their confidence and self-identity, and also to give them the skills that they'll need in order to lead us tomorrow. When we start getting old, Sammy, and we start losing our hair, and our teeth start falling
Hey,
out.
don't start with that one.
I started with that one. We want the next generation to be prepared with all skills, from financial literacy to presentation skills, to critical thinking, to entrepreneurship, to knowing their history, knowing who they are, and everything in between. So we're starting on a new parenting series on our YouTube channel that'll be coming really soon. So yeah, watch out for that if you're interested in parenting or raising the next generation, making them special and stand out.
It is so worthwhile. I know a while back you were doing internet sessions and stuff, online sessions. I don't know, is that something we can prepare ourselves for in the future?
Yeah, so what we're doing is at the moment we're working on some digital content because we had a community in the UK before we left, and then we have a community in Ghana as well, and there's also some people from the US and stuff who want to get them involved and have their children join the program. So we are currently working on our digital content, which we're going to release it very, very soon. So we're excited about it. We know it's going to be sort of game changing, and hopefully stir up that next generation to be prepared for whatever tomorrow may bring.
Yeah, and as soon as that goes live, we will be trumpeting it, because I really feel that anybody that is thinking about coming back, especially with children, this is such a good preparation, staging area, getting them into the right mindset for their return. Because our little people, they're going to be looking after us like when we're old, and steering them in the right direction now will save us all, Charlie. It will save us all.
And it's one of the things I always say. People always think about land, always think about houses. They're thinking about physical assets, tangible assets, or sometimes intangible ones. And sometimes we overlook the most important intangible/tangible asset, which are the children coming. We can invest all we want in houses and this and that, but if the children don't have that right mindset coming up on how to generate wealth, how to be generationally wealthy, and all these things which are critical to their success, then it would almost be in vain. It would be like sometimes when our parents built those houses living in the UK, saying, "Oh, one day I'll return to my 10-bedroom mansion," but they never spent one night in it. It'll be that sort of investment wasted. So that's sort of one of the things we're really aiming to do, making sure that people prep their children, make sure they learn their language, make sure they're inspired about Africa, the culture, the history, and much, much more. So that's Destination Africa.
Yeah, I know a few weeks back we were talking to Douglas, and he was stressing the importance of getting these multiple streams of income set before you even touch the motherland, before you even get to Ghana. And I put your course on the same level as importance for our children and the family. It's on there. You need to get all these things and the positive image of returning home set, and the understanding of where they're from set way before they've even landed and put their feet down. It's not something that you start when the family.
Once they're here, you're right. Because once you arrive, you're dealing with flooding, you're dealing with electricity companies, you're dealing with your rent, you're dealing with all sorts of things happening. Trying to get food, X, Y, and Z, house help, X. But starting that journey from the earliest possible time is just essential. I remember when we were coming back and forth before we moved, we were coming like 2-3 times a year, just double checking, is it the right time? Are the children happy? We taught our children how to speak their mother tongue. But they were fluent. They could read and write it before they even touched African soil for the first time. And the whole point was for them to be like, you know what? The moment I touch down, the moment they hear people speaking tree, they'll be like, oh, wow, I hear tree everywhere, instead of just at home with mom and dad, or with their uncles and aunties, or family gatherings and so on. And it just made it so much that bit more real for them. I remember when we came on one of our holidays, we did all it. We went to Cancun, we went to Hans Cottage, saw the crocodiles, did so much. And at the end of the holiday, I asked my son, I was like, "Oh, what did you enjoy the most?" And he was like, I thought he'll say when we went to Adan, went on a jet ski and stuff. And he was like, what I enjoyed was just seeing my own people and hearing them speak Tree. And I remember at the time he was like 5-6 years old. And that was his way of expressing that, you know what, I'm home. And he wouldn't care about flooding, he wouldn't care about some of the things I go through, but as long as he feels that he's at home, that's one less thing for me to worry about on that journey back.
You did well. I can remember for my own personal journey when I think I was around 6 or 7, and that plane door opening and just this wall the heat hits you, and then this wall of blackness. I'm coming from northwest London, Camden Town. It was very multicultural there. But at that time, blacks were not the major minority, to say the least. I wasn't in one of the areas in London known for a Ghanaian community. And coming to Accra, opening that door on the old Ghana Airways aeroplane, which is another experience on its own, seeing posters, billboards, policemen, just everyone black. It was amazing. And I can also remember feeling left out because I didn't know the language. And I could feel that, and I didn't want that for my children. And over the year we've been here, they're doing better than me. I'm really happy.
Benji, the way Benji came to class one time, and the way he gave me some local pidgin accent, I was like, I had to look at him like, what? Is that what they're teaching you in school? Do they have a course speaking pidgin? Because the way he was like, come on now, and he dropped some pidgin on me. I was like, hey, Benji.
When we bring back little B, then you'll see something. It's like a little old auntie already.
Oh man!
But their tree is coming nicely, and they correct me, which I love. No, Daddy, you don't say it like that. That's perfect. Okay, we're learning together. Maybe I should be at the front of the class, but every so often, little B and Benji will say, "Oh, Daddy, you're not doing well."
The children did it to me all the time. I mean, because I started learning Tree, so I don't really speak Tree, but I started learning Tree when Asadel was on the way, and I was like, you know what? Just the same thing that happened to you, I didn't want it to happen to me. I didn't want it to happen to them, because growing up, I didn't really speak Fanti as fluently as I should. So when I started learning Tree, I was like, I need to go all in. So it got to a certain point where he was correcting me. I was like, Daddy, you're kind of see. And I was like, you had to swallow that humble daddy. You couldn't do that African parent where you're like, I'm not apologizing. You just had to say, okay, you just take it. But he's like, you know what, Dad, I appreciate the fact that, you're trying. You don't say it right all the time, but you're trying. And I was like, thanks for consoling me, son. I feel it. I feel good. So, yeah.
Hey, Falcon Wings, thanks for joining us from Texas. It's really appreciated. You're welcome. You're welcome. Akwawa.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's been, we're coming up to that hour. It always seems to fly so quick. Again, thanks for joining us, guys. We are safe for those that caught the live. We had to actually cut it short because we had to literally man the pumps, the buckets at that point. Yes, Brown Coat Blue. I'm going to check out Amazon and see what's about. It's I may well take you around the back of the house and show you the areas that are an issue, and any help or suggestions I'll take on board, and you'll have helped my build. But yeah, as ever, guys, thank you for joining us. Mike, thank you for dropping in again.
Hey, pleasure as ever.
A very welcome guest. Our official meeting was postponed because of the weather, but hopefully next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday we won't have muddy feet, and we won't be tiptoeing through the mud to get there. So yeah, it'll be good to catch up with the guys.
Yes, definitely. We'll meet up again, weather permitting. Hopefully, we're good because this isn't seasonal. This weather, I forgot to say that this isn't normal for these months in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rain should have been finished. August?
Yeah, July, August. Yeah.
Yeah, July, August. We're now in September, October, and having serious rains as if it was the raining season. So yeah, there's a lot happening, but yes, we're safe. We're soldiering on. We've got more amazing content coming through the next week. We've got a very, very good episode on Wednesday. You guys need to tune into. Very good company we're partnering with. If you can see the house that you want, if you even have plans of it, these guys will build it in Africa, in Ghana. And if you haven't even got a plot of land, we'll even help you find the plot of land and put the house you want in your mind, your design, everything in Ghana today at a high spec. So guys,
just a question, if they haven't already, if they enjoy the conversation, ask them to like.
Oh, Charlie. Guys, if you've enjoyed this, please, by force,
press that button. Press that
smash the like button.
Smash it.
Join us in the comments. Just say hi. Give me a thumbs up. Anything, guys. It helps the algorithm to get this content out to more of the diaspora and enables us to keep doing what we do. If you haven't done already, Destination Africa, have a look for it on YouTube. You'll see Mike's content. And look, I've got to say, they put a lot of hard work into their content. It's high quality, and it's worth your time. And make sure you hit that subscribe button before you even hit the like button, guys. We support each other here. All the returnees that I've come into contact with have just such an amazing positive energy. We need each other. And if you guys are coming over, I'm sure you'll be welcome into the family also, the Destination Africa family and the Ghana Bound family. So let's do this together. All ships rise with the same tide, and you're welcome. So guys, until next week, Sunday, signing off. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys. Like.
We're having a dodgy end. Let's do this.
Where I belong. You're the reason why I'm singing this song. Boy, I did you no wrong, but you broke my